I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we'll move on. Start with the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda to discuss further? Hearing none, we'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Move on.
Okay, so that'll take us to the fence application for 521 Blue Jay Avenue. I do have Cody Turnquist here to provide some information, additional information. I can do a brief summary. Okay, so a little bit of background. So we did receive a fence application for the property at 521 Blue Jay Avenue. That's right next to the City Hall. It's, as you know, the storage units. So usually we don't bring fence permits to council, except our ordinance does require if any barbed wire fencing is involved, that needs council approval. And so that's why it's here today. So I did include in the packet some of the fence permit information with that application and the city code regarding fences. It's going to be a 6-foot high galvanized chain link fence plus 3 strands of barbed wire. And then it's also going to have a swing gate on there. And then I did include the drawing, which I think yours is in black and white. I think mine has the red. If I can get it. Right here. And then I don't know, Cody, if you wanted to explain any additional information. I also have a picture of the drawing, what the fence will look like. So the 5, no. Is that, okay, so, Tom, okay. Sorry, I'll let you go.
No problem.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Cody Turnquist. I appreciate you guys listening to us on this. So my business partner and I, we recently just purchased 521 Blue Jay Avenue. And last year there was a break-in, and there was thousands of dollars of damage to some of our clients' boats that were inside. It happened in the back quadrant. There's 3 rows of storage buildings. And so that back quadrant, there's not a lot of visibility at all. There's no electricity in the property, so there's no lights in the back there. So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to fence off that back 3 storage buildings. And to secure them a little bit better, we're thinking the barbed wire would be beneficial. So essentially what we're planning on doing, there was a kind of a chain that was raised across the center here. What we did is we moved that chain to the first 3 buildings right here. And then what we're doing, we're just running this chain link and barbed wire. This is going to be a gate here, and there's also a gate here. And so it's just going from corner to building, corner to building. And then we're doing the same thing on the, what would be north side, and then the south side here. There would be no gate here, but basically that 6-foot chain link, and then with the 3 strands above. And for now, what we're planning on doing is just doing the chain link in the back side there. It's really hard to access that back side of the property, and so we think that would be sufficient for now. I'm open to comments if you have any.
Where department access?
So what we're going to do is we're going to put a key box on the first chain link right here on both sides of this building. We'll have a firebox. We'll make sure that the fire marshal has a key, or they can just bash it, and then we'll have keys for all the fences, and they're all going to be keyed the same.
Fire chief seen this by any chance?
I know that the planner has seen it. I have not sent it to the fire.
And my only thought is that area that you said there will not be a gate.
On this location down here.
Yeah.
So in order to gain access there, you have to place
Mhm.
house. And so there is, obviously, there is going to be a gate here, there, and then also here, which could be accessed from the gravel road. And there's ponds there, so they can siphon water out of those ponds. That's what we thought would be the best access.
So the fire department would have access to get in there?
They would.
24/7?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And just like the standard firebox, key box?
Just on any commercial building,
Okay.
correct.
So that's something that the sheriff also has keys then too, obviously. They don't have access to fireboxes?
Yeah, if there's something going on, smash that thing,
They'll get in.
grab and go.
Yeah.
We'll get in.
Absolutely.
On this, is that a road that's on the, on the lower portion of that property? Is that, can you get around there?
Right here.
Yeah, what is it?
No, it's a steep slope that comes in,
Mhm.
so there's a fire hydrant here.
Yeah.
And the grade, I would say, from the corner of this building to what this is an actual roadway paved,
Yeah.
there's probably a 10-foot difference there, or a 8-foot difference.
The hydrants are on that side, nothing on the other side.
Correct, there's no hydrant on the other side.
It just seems like with the hydrants on that side and not having access for the fire department through that gate right there.
Through the gate on this side?
Yeah.
I need to put a gate there. I can-
Oh, I'm not telling you you have to, I'm just thinking that, you know, with the value of the boats you have in there, and to me, it seems like it would have access there, any thoughts?
No, I'm just looking at the aerial there, you can kind of see that grass strip along there, but,
Both of them come far back behind the tree. Back here, yep, there's a hydrant. I kind of had it back there, yep.
I sure would hold it up, I don't know, maybe just want to check the fire department, see what the chief thinks of that.
that was the only thing I'd say, is if you have concerns about that, I'd just make a contingent on the fire chief proving the location of the box and that, they feel comfortable that the proper access is provided.
Okay.
All right, well, I'll make the motion to approve the fence application for 521 Blue Jay Avenue, contingent of just the fire chief reviewing to make sure that they have adequate access
Okay, so are you, approving
with the barbed wire.
I'll second that.
So just so I can be clear, you're approving the plan as is with the fire marshal's signing off. Okay. Great.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Same sign.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I can, I'll touch base with the fire chief tomorrow, and I should maybe able to get you an answer. Okay, so, next on the agenda is our quarter 3 financial report. As you know, this is our third report that we've put together this year, so it's very similar to the previous reports. So I don't know if I'll go through it completely, because I know you guys are more familiar with these reports, but, it's just kind of a guide of where we are on the third quarter and where we're shaping up to be by year end. Right now, if you go on to page 29, we're at about 83.3% of our revenues that we brought in. I think we just still have a little bit of taxes that still need to be brought in. We get those twice a year. I think the next one would be sometime in November. And then for our expenditures, we're at about 87.9% of the general fund. And there is additional breakdown and explanation in the report as well. On 31, it gives some explanations about revenue and then the expenditures as well. There's 5 line items at the bottom that explain why some of the there's some high differences from last year, or why the percentages are what they're at. that was created a long time ago. It's a city, it looks like it was a fund that the city must have set up and had years ago. I don't know why we still have it. But it doesn't look like we have anything in there, so, or we haven't used it. And then breakdown of kind of where our, investments are at. If you go on page 35, that has kind of where our investments, savings, and checking, and our total. Our total right now is, for everything, is about $5,900,000. And then it goes into water, sewer, and stormwater funds, kind of where we're at compared to last year. Some of these percentages I did touch base with Abdo are off because the algorithm, we talked about this in depth. They're going to get me a new copy. They have some algorithm issue, but I think that it's just the percentage that is off. So we, in our water fund, we've had less revenue as we did last year, and then we've had more expenditures than we did last year. So we are, compared to last year, we are negative compare. And sewer, I believe, is the same. We're pretty close with our revenues. If you look at on page 37, we're not even like 1,000 off. And then, but our expenditures are up a little bit for this year. I think it's because we've had some capital projects that we pulled money out for. And then sewer is off as well. For the percentage, I'll get everybody a new copy. We actually have had less revenue this year. I think part of that is because we haven't received developer fees this year. We will see a spike next year as we have a new development come through that will come to council, which will have some storm sewer charges, developer charges in there. And then our expenses are way down as well. We must have done a project last year for storm. So that's why last year's showing up quite a bit higher. And then I just have a breakdown of all the budget so far from page 40, 45. Nope, that's not it. And that just shows the percentage of each line item that we have in our budget so far to page 56. So, like I said, the report's pretty similar to the other ones we've had. I don't know if anything has stood out when you reviewed that report. I can always try and answer the questions, or I can get Abdo to provide some feedback as well. But I think if you look on page 56, with our enterprise and our general fund, we're at about 63.52% total of our yearly budgeted amount. I guess I would just have you guys accept the quarterly financial report.
Accept the quarterly financial report.
Make that motion.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Hearing none, opposed? Hearing none, it's accepted. Brings us to item number, thinking of delinquent utility bills.
Okay, so in front of you is a resolution that would approve certification of delinquent utility bills. These are bills that have not been paid up until June of 2018. So I do have attached to the resolution is a list of the properties and the amount owed, and this will get assessed to their property taxes. This is very common in cities to do it this way, but tonight is we do have to do it before November 31st. We do allow them to pay until this Friday, otherwise, it will go on taxes. But we do need a preliminary certification to send to the county.
When they were contacted,
They were, yep. So they have been sent a letter. They did have a notice of the public hearing, which we had at a previous meeting. And some people, I think the list was originally, I think we had about 25, and I think now we're down to about 15 or so. I don't know, 20. We took quite a few off already, so some people who have needed extra time have contacted us for arrangements, but this is kind of...
So you haven't heard from most of these people?
We haven't heard from these people that are on this list, so this is kind of, yep, where we're at. This is the certification list for this year.
well, I will make the motion to approve the certification of delinquent utilities and miscellaneous unpaid fees for water collection. Any further discussion on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
All right, so the next item is Resolution 11-13-18-41, certifying the November 8th, 2018 municipal election results. November 6th, I apologize, it's a typo. So for the election, we did have an opening for the mayor and 2 council members on the ballot. In the resolution is the results of the election, and so as part of this process, we do have to certify the results for the city election. And in doing so, I have written a resolution that explains kind of the totals for each office. I did receive some absentee information from the county today, because they're still processing their election. But absentee is included in these results. So, I think, if you want more information on write-ins, I can get that to you. I just didn't have it before today. So, what's the total? The number, okay, so I can tell you that, I did get, I know that for city council, we did get 11 absentee. I don't know, the information that they gave me didn't provide the total number of absentee ballots, but, we did have 882 ballots cast at City Hall. But the absentee ballots that were recorded are in these results on this resolution. I just don't know the exact number at the moment. I think it was like maybe 20 to 25. But, yeah, the county hasn't been getting that information back to me yet, so. So in this, resolution, you'll see that, Mike Dodge will be beginning another 2-year term beginning January 1st, and then Eric Boder and Nikki McNeely will also be starting a new 4-year council member term. And then we do have the percentages of each race and how many write-ins there were total. And like I said, I just got that from the county today, so I can provide you with write-in information if you need it. Numbers or names.
All right, we'll look for a motion to approve resolution 11-13-18-41, certifying the November 6th.
Yes, November 6th.
2018 municipal election results. Second.
I'll second. I thought you were. I'll second.
Any further discussion needed? Second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
next item, I'll have Kyle present, for Greg Kluber.
Members of the council, identified in the 2018 wastewater treatment plant sewer fund budget under capital improvements is the rebuilding of the pretreatment Mectin grit system. Included in the quote are the main components to accomplish the rebuild as well as the cost for our company technician to assist Public Works with the rebuild. Similar to what Greg just presented on the fine screen. This is also in the pretreatment building, and it's kind of a auger that removes the grit. And no maintenance or rebuild work has been done to it since it's been put in that was in 2004. So staff is recommending the approval of bid from Veolia Water Technologies. Public Works staff will be doing the rebuild of the pre-screen. It is included, it was $13,660 was budgeted for. And it's looking to cost $12,124.
Oh, that was notes I was taking in a meeting, so that's, sorry.
So look for a motion to approve that resolution There we go, back to it. So the purchase of the Mectin grit system for a total of $12,124.
I'll make that motion.
Second? I'll second that. Further discussion?
Can you explain to me what the Mectin grit system is?
Well, if you could go on a tour sometime. Okay.
Free Friday.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Nikki, you too. Don't forget about you yet. Another 4 years. No, it is, so our grid, so this is our part of our pre-treatment system, so when the wastewater comes into the wastewater plant, it goes through the fine screen, which is what we're rebuilding from the previous meeting. And so grit is like your coffee grounds, your sand, you know, everything's denser and heavier than the water is. So it goes through a channel, after it goes through the fine screen, goes through a channel, goes through a pedal, mixer, kind of mixes it up. Sand and other particulates settle to the bottom, down to a grit pump, which is what we rebuilt a couple of years ago, or actually we replaced it and redid some work down in the pre-treatment building, did some painting and everything, pumps it up to this grit removal system, goes down this another screen type dealie, and there's an auger in it, and it augers the grit up and dewaters it, and it gets dumped into a garbage can, and we wheel it out every Friday. So this is the stuff that would be hard to remove later on after the pre-treatment process.
So if we replaced like, several years ago, was this whole grit system part of it?
This is after the pump. So the pump, yeah, there's kind of a
This one
couple,
was thing. Okay.
right,
Okay.
correct.
Just curious.
But yes, Friday, that works. Text me.
How much grit is, how big's the trash can?
We got just a 55-gallon trash can. I mean, right now we just kind of cleaned up everything. We cleaned our main lift station today, and then we clean the influent channel twice a year, and a lot of grit kind of settles in the channel. But otherwise, once everything's kind of flowing really good, I'd say a quarter full. I mean, if we have really high flows, then it could be even more than that. But I mean, it's definitely, the more flow and the more houses we got, it's definitely filled a lot more. But, and then also we throw away all the rags and stuff that get it filtered up the fine screen, so. You get to come for a tour?
See what my Friday looks like.
Water plant tour is much more pleasant.
Yeah.
Alright, so, we have a motion and a second.
And then just a reminder that, this Thursday is the rescheduled planning commission meeting, and that I included in, I think, your guys' weekly update, and that it will
We're
be
doing that
talking
joint,
about.
right?
That would be joined, so, just a reminder.
All right. Number 8, any other business? All right. Guess I will look for a motion to close the city council meeting.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, meeting closed. We do have a work session.
I'm gonna just see if there's a representative from Republic.
I saw someone walk.
Did you?
With the briefcase.
I'll try not to sneak out too fast. Dang it, no, I know I can't sneak out. Hot's on my side.
Don't run this place.
That's right. It's cold in here.
It's colder out there.
Okay, so we can get started on, when you're ready,
What's that?
like opening it if you want to.
All right, call the meeting to order. 7 o'clock.
Okay, so our, thing on is Republic Services. I know, I had asked Bev to kind of provide just a little update about how the year has been going, and just to, and then also relook at, I know we had a previous discussion on recycling and kind of where it's going right now, and the contract that we currently have in place. So that's something that we do have to revisit, but there is a presentation that you guys have right now on kind of how the year has been going. So.
Again, I'm Bev Mathieson, and I'm the Municipal Services Manager for Republic Services. I work with your staff, Maggie primarily, when it comes to recycling, our recycling education and recycling program. And so she had asked me recently, after we all last met, she said, you know, it'd be really nice if you could come and speak and kind of give us an update on
Recycling in general, and I said I'd be more than happy to do that. And it was really great timing, because in August, our sustainability report comes out, and that's something that we get really excited about at Republic Services, and the only way we can achieve our company's goals is through the work that we do with all of you in the community. So I'm going to run you through some of the highlights, and you all have a copy, so I'm not going to read verbatim. I know that you're all capable of taking what you need out of this. And so with Republic Services, we are more than 14 million strong. And so we serve a number of cities across the United States, actually including Puerto Rico. And the piece that we're most committed to is sustainability. And so for generations, that's been our highest priority, along with safety. And so we tend to choose partners who have the same philosophy as we do. And that really is very simple. How much more can we divert from trash into recycling programs? Certainly, filling up our landfills is not something that we have an interest in. It might be an easy solution, but it's not the best solution. So this annual sustainability report highlights some of the promises that I speak to when I'm working with city staff members and, you know, customers actually as well. And it's all about the solutions that we provide for you and other cities for reliable and resourceful services. So there were some things that we committed to early on, and we're pleased to say in 2017 we achieved these goals. These were pretty lofty goals. We weren't sure we would quite make them all, but we were very committed. So in terms of energy, to develop at least 2 landfill gas-to-energy projects in the year through 2018. Goal a little early in 2017. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but gas to energy would be using that methane gas in our landfills and converting it to electricity. Enough fuel, or let's say not fuel, enough electricity to power just locally here at our Inver Grove Heights plant. We power over 8,000 homes in that area. So that's something that we pride ourselves in.
Is that mandated by anybody, or is that just
No, it's not mandated. Nope, it's something that we chose to do. And then, of course, we worked with the city and the county on that project as well. But there is a gas-to-energy plant right there at our Inver Grove Pine Bend landfill. And when it warms up, if ever you wish to take a tour of our recycling plant there and the landfill, which is next door, and see that and see the plant, the energy plant, certainly I would be more than happy and excited to plan that for you guys. So that's always an option, okay? Yeah, it's really neat. The first time I went through it, I was really amazed. I wasn't able to go inside the energy plant, but you'll see where it is, and they really do a nice job of explaining how this all works. So a lot of folks don't know that we have that, and that was a huge investment by us, and I think it was a partnership also with the county and the city. Recycled commodities. Add an additional 150,000 tons or more per year of recycling capacity in 2018. Takes a lot of manpower, takes a lot of technology, and a lot to achieve that goal, which we did in 2017. That's been difficult for us, especially as 2017 started rolling into 2018 ever since China soared, because we've had to slow down those lines. I think I shared with you last time we've slowed those down because we need to get a cleaner product so that we can take that to market. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're really pleased to have made that goal as well. In terms of our fleet, when we think about sustainability, that also entails, we've got a number of trucks. We've got CNG trucks out, we've got diesel trucks, and we continue to grow our CNG truck fleet. So we're reducing fleet emissions by 3% from direct operational impacts, and we achieved that goal in 2017. What that means to all of us as residents and community, it means, less emissions. And so we're reducing air pollution and increasing air quality. Safety, our number one priority for Republic Services is to reduce OSHA recordable rates by 7% year over year. To date, we're right on goal to make that happen. So some really good news there. Then also some additional highlights for 2017 were Recycle Reimagine 2.0. This is what I talked about last time when Brandon and I were here with you, and that was what are we doing to make recycling sustainable in a very down market. Now, we've been through market fluctuations in the past. They've gone way low in the past. If you've all watched this throughout the years in the last decade, we've hit really low numbers before. But what's changed here is China said, no more. We really don't want your recycling anymore. It's dirty. And quite frankly, we feel that we have a middle class now. We're cleaning up our country. We feel that we have enough recyclable materials here to manufacture more products. So we've looked to Taiwan, we've looked to Korea, we've looked to Indonesia, we've looked to a number of different companies, as has the rest of the world, and we've found more markets. What's more exciting is here locally, we're not as dependent on other international markets. We do have a fairly robust market base here, and that's important. Now, the rest of the country, the coastal folks, they're also trying to bring their products to the Midwest. So we've got some competition. good news that I want to share with you since I was here last time is I shared with you the decline of mixed paper in cardboard and the negative value on glass. Well, as those have continued to slip, over the last 60 days, they've pretty much leveled out. The optimist that I am looks at that and says, I think we've hit rock bottom. So that is my hope. But if you've been watching the recycling markets, you will see that we've kind of hit that flat. Now, it's not real great. Mixed paper's still at about a 0 to -5. Cardboard, it's still half of what it used to be. There's some value yet in metals and aluminum, so we want to encourage people. You know, don't buy your pop in the bottle. Buy it in the can. Get some value back for our city. And then of course glass has been negative, but that's something that we do choose to recycle locally. Most areas in the country don't recycle glass, as I mentioned before. Reason being is to transport that and to get it, to transport that a long distance is very, very expensive. It's heavy. And the return on it is negative. We have great local outlets for our glass, therefore we choose to recycle glass. And we hope that it comes around. In the past, some of our other materials have subsidized that. Right now, as of 2 weeks ago, I asked our MRF, I said, now, where are we on a mixed bale? Let's say across the board, the average price of our materials. How much do we make for a bale, an average bale of whatever product it is? When you take them all and you run the math, we're about -40 a ton right now. And so it's looking better than it was. I know it doesn't sound really good, but we're working with MPCA. The industry together is meeting with counties and state officials, and I think we'll see more development in terms of end markets. It's just going to take time. So we just need to weather the storm and kind of recreate how we're managing our recyclables here in the United States. And that pretty much sums up that slide. I get a little excited about this topic. So the next piece is Republic Service also in the last year took a real partnership approach with the municipalities that we serve. We came up with a new business model, a partnership model, in where we have proposed to our cities both a cost share program within that partnership, but also then a revenue share. So when times are not good, we give you full value of your material that's collected from your city and apply that to the cost of recycling. What's left is that net. And that's what we've asked you to take on, is that piece. And for mayor, it was 53 cents. And then when times are per household, yes, sir, thank you. And when times are good and it turns around and it's profitable, then after the costs are covered of processing the material, then it's a 50-50 revenue share between the city and Republic Services. So that's a little bit in terms of where we're at today. We've become better educators through this storm with sustainability and recycling. Our corporate team has become more active in education and helping provide us with educational materials so that we can send them to folks like Maggie. Myself, I have an advertising background from over 20-some years in advertising, so it's something that I particularly like to do. And so along with the team in Phoenix, I've been working on some educational materials for 2019. First being for first quarter, it would be the educational calendar. The recycling calendar is something where every resident is mailed a recycling calendar so they know which weeks we pick up, which days, and how, and also what holidays might change your service date. So it's real easy. They don't have to call in or, log into their computer. And on there are do's and don'ts. Do recycle this, please don't recycle this, and here's why. So it's a really nice education piece. In fact, I have approval now with my calendars from both Anoka County and Ramsey County, and now with the last revision, I'll complete that task with the other counties, get their blessing, and then it'll go to print and get mailed out. And so mayor's residents will be included in that mailing, and so I hope you enjoy that piece. I happen to be a Republic Services customer. I live in Champlin, and we have a consortium there. And so we have a number of haulers. We happened to 21 years ago build our house in an area that's serviced by Republic Services. So I've had that calendar year after year. I revised it because I saw some opportunity there with my advertising background and all, and so I keep it right on my fridge. It's a nice, easy reference. And sometimes my neighbors mess up. They put that recycling card out, and it's not recycling week.
You look, you're like, crap, those are so late.
Because sometimes you don't know, and you just kind of rely on your neighbors, right? And so I check my calendar. Another thing that we've done is we put together a really cool website for recycling on how to recycle. It's called recyclingsimplified.com. You won't see anything about glass on there because this is a little bit more generic because it's a national website. However, it gives some really good recycling tips on, if it's smaller than this size, don't put it in the recycle bin. It won't get recycled. It's going to fall through the belt. If you can poke your finger through that plastic, it's not recyclable. Little tiny tips that kind of help our residents remember, can we recycle this? Can we not? Because as we talked about before, manufacturers are really changing their packaging. And it's getting very confusing for our consumers, myself included. There are times I have to call one of my MRF peers and say, can I recycle this? And the latest thing were all the political signs. Well, they're plastic, right? We got metal stands. Yeah, not in curbside. So from time to time, even myself, I get stumped a little. So just wanted to let you know that's a great reference and something that, I'm sure that we'll see in your newsletters. And definitely, it's on my calendar. For Q2 education, my goal is to have an education piece to all of my cities, one for each quarter. Although the contracts either don't state education is a necessity in terms of the contract. Some say, a calendar counts as the one and only one you need to provide. I think in the environment that we're at, we need to partner together, and I'm willing to do 4 of those, 1 a quarter. It's a lot of responsibility for Maggie in this environment to always be publishing articles about what's recycling, what's not, how are we doing as a city. So I feel some responsibility in that, so this year you will see 4 articles that I'll provide for you. And hopefully we'll just keep getting better at recycling. So now it's all about you, okay? So January 1st through October 15th, I would know that I was going to come and speak in October, so these are numbers through that period. So far in Mayer, we've recycled 178 tons of material. That is fantastic for a city your size. And your cleanup, wow, we've kept a lot of couches and stuff out of the ditch here, haven't we? This is like one of the biggest cleanups that I see.
I've never seen it this big before.
Oh.
It was crazy.
Oh, but just think, if people are getting rid of it the right way, it's less times the Public Works has to go pick up stuff out of the ditch. A lot less public dumping and illegal dumping. So kudos to you guys, 35.65 tons. That's just...
And we've been doing it for several years. I would think that it would start getting lower.
Yeah.
That's a few years we haven't seen.
Did you have like a lot of new move-ins or something? I don't know.
It's really fun to watch all the people that drive around to get stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Trucks and trailers coming and.
But you know, that's reuse, and I like that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, but this is just a tiny limit of tonnage for a city your size when you have, according to my last number, 714 homes. Holy moly. So, keep it up, you know, let's keep your city clean. And thanks to Lindsay here. I want to announce Lindsay, this is Lindsay Bertram, and she is our operations supervisor. She's in charge of seeing that the trucks are here on time, that they're doing what they need to do. When you need to move a truck, Maggie gets in touch here with Lindsay. So, Sally's on the state task, and she's Lindsay Mary Bertram.
That's enough press for everyone that has my office number and my work cell phone number on there, so if there's any issues, just let me know right away.
She's easy to get a hold of, and it's nice to have someone local. She leads up our Jordan team, so she's a hot speaker to get hold of. One of the things I'm really proud about with about my company is that Republic
Gives Back. One of the things that I really want to point out here, you can read through this slide yourself, but when it comes to, and this is something, I've been with the company now for 3.5 years, something that really, I find really neat is we don't think about trash and garbage trucks with national disasters, but we're one of the first folks into a city when something happens, whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, you know, and we've had our share of national disasters here over the last couple of years, and we have a response team. And so, literally, we are so well organized that at any time, should one of our cities, and actually even some of our, maybe not our municipal cities, but cities where we provide open hauling, we're there. We're there collecting and cleaning up, and also seeing that our residents are taken care of there. And so with supplies, food, water, and so it's really pretty exciting. And we as employees have the opportunity to give to that funding as well. So it's not just corporate driven, it's something that the employees take a lot of pride in. So as a company, in 2017, we gave back to our customer communities like you, $7.1 million. So I think that's worthwhile mentioning, and something, like I said, we're all very proud of. We have some new giving programs now. If you go onto our website, you will see those. And we've got one called the National Neighborhood Promise. It helps strengthen the communities in which we live in by focusing on neighborhood revitalizations. And then we have another program as well listed on that same page. So if anyone should approach you about a project, about a revitalization, please visit that website, take a look. There are forms there that you fill out and submit, and certainly if you need any help or any assistance at all with that, please contact me or Lindsay. So where do we go from here? 2017 was great. You're doing fantastic with your recycling tons. Couldn't ask for more. Although let's see what 2018. Let's see what the next cleanup does in 2019. Couldn't ask for better results there. But I think you guys might surprise me again. I don't know. And so, in terms of China Sword, like I said, markets have kind of flattened out right now. This is positive. They haven't declined any further. We still are committed to making recycling sustainable. I think I've converted 5 contracts so far to the new recycling model. And Anoka, I will be speaking to staff, and others have approved this, so I go before council next week for Anoka. And what's that?
The county or the city?
The city. Yep, and they've been a longtime partner of ours. and we've served their city for many, many years, and they understand the need to move to the partnership model and support that. So I'll be speaking with their council members now next week, and I anticipate that they'll approve that with a January 1st start. And so some really good, good things happening in that space. And so I would ask you to still consider moving to the partnership model. I know that it can be a little scary when we're adjusting rates once a year, but at the same time, I think the biggest change is first stepping into the model. From there, I don't know that we'll see huge shifts. What I hope we see is an increase in the value of recycling as we normalize our domestic markets. I will say, and I do want to make sure that we all understand this, is that moving forward when contracts come due and we start renegotiating new contracts, they all will be Recycling 2.0. It will all be that partnership model. Where there are cities that don't wish to go with that model, we will bid them accordingly, where there's a collection rate and a processing fee, if need be, and if we're chosen, great. If we're not, we'll walk away. We just feel, as a company, to keep it sustainable, this is what we need to do, and we're only asking to break even. It's not profitable for us on that side. So, if you have any questions about any of your services, I got Lindsay here for service. If you have any service concerns, as we are starting to enter into winter, man, it's coming way too fast. She's your manager. And if there's anything that I can speak to, we're here for you.
What other cities in Carver County do you serve?
Within Carver County, we serve, obviously Carver, Enchanted, pretty much the area. I know that in regards to we service Georgia Country and Scott County. We also service New Germany, which is one of your close neighbors. City of Henderson is another one of our municipalities.
Of course, I think they're Sibley, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've also taken a board to our Recycling 2.0 program. That was part of their personal action in our area to take care of and partner with that.
Henderson was?
Yes. Mhm.
Any cities in Carver County signed on board with that yet, or any interest?
There's interest. Getting from the initial stages of discussing, talking, walking through it. In what's happening right now is that if it's an open market city, they are assessed a processing fee. If it's a municipal contract, such as Mayor, New Germany, with those, then that's something that has to be passed by the council. That's not something that we just implement on our own. And so with that, it takes extra time and consideration.
And it was 53 cents a month?
It is 53 cents a month per household. Mhm. And so we're, like I said, with contracts that are coming due, it will be implemented in the next in the next contract term. And for all others, we're just asking, for the partnership when the city is able to enter into that. So we're flexible. And I do want to say, too, one more thing, Eric, is that we fully intend to honor all our current contracts. You will get the same service that you always do. You have the same folks that you work with. And so, by all means, we're asking for a partnership. It's not the strong hammer. We understand. I mean, we've got some cities that have said, I have one city in particular that said, we're dealing with a deficit and we're already subsidizing this over here. And so we will do this, we just can't right now. And so we know every city is unique.
When's our contract up?
We have 2 years.
You have a
going into year 2 and then, year 4, and then I think we have 5 years. 2.
I think you have a couple of years, because you're not 2019.
We just switched to year 4 rates.
Yes. Yes. Mhm. And I know that your contract is not up in 2019, so it must be 2020. Mhm.
One question that I received from the mayor who was not here. He just wants to know what the biggest complaints have been.
Oh, sure.
How you guys have handled those throughout the year. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, just trying to figure out what recycling fees are. Someone called and said, hey, I don't want to bring this in. And then you look at the rest of it, what's recycling fees? And that's where the calendars come in.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, neighbors with others, consider recycling. So I think that's the biggest thing that we've heard. And that's their education for recycling calendar as well.
Mhm.
So we have a fire department calendar, and last year's, they were all flipped. So there could be so when the calendars are printed for this 2018, we put garbage and recycling. Well, whoever printed the calendar had them flipped.
Oh, no.
So they were wrong, so that could have been, but I think this year for
We didn't do
2019,
They didn't do it.
we didn't have it on there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, 'cause
On
there was-
purpose.
Was it?
Yeah.
So I think people would want that calendar then.
Well, I don't so much a nice reminder, it really is,
You can't remember, I can't remember.
I have mine at home on my fridge, even and I work from, I have to look at it. It's like not, because life is so busy that it's, it's a nice reminder. And one thing that you'll see, and so I want to be transparent and let you know this in advance, in terms of what is recycling and what isn't, as an industry, we haulers are getting together and we're attending the recycling education committees. We're very active in that. Now, we have a number of city officials that work on that committee, MCCA, so it's really, and also some of our county officials, so recycling managers actually. And so we're talking about this, trying to move toward a very unified message. Why? Because when you move from Hennepin to Firebird or Anoka, it's different. The messaging is different. And so we said, okay, we may recycle this here. You may recycle that there. But let's come together on unified messaging so that it's a lot easier for the 7-county metro area. And so what you'll see a difference in our messaging at Republic, and once you get your new calendar, you'll see that shredded paper is going to be on the no list. Now, what that means is our industry partners, our competitors, but they're still industry partners, some of them don't take it. So we said, we'll make that concession. We'll say no on our calendar. It's not something we love to recycle, but if it does come through our line and someone's handled it properly, where they've got shredded paper in a brown bag, folded over with a staple in it, and they write on their shredded paper, we're going to see that it's recycled. But you will see it on the no list, and that's something that Maggie and I can work on in terms of messaging.
I just learned something, I had no idea.
Yeah, so I told you to put everything in there. Wow.
And it's all of these little things that, are forever changing.
We learned that one of our competitors a large competitor was no longer taking cartons, the aseptic cartons, like you get the juice or like milk and it's got the little screw cap, or the little protein shakes, and they said, yeah, we're not taking them anymore. Well, the rest of us were. Well, we had a little chat, and the Carton Association had a chat, and they're now taking those. Everybody kind of helped them find a home for these. And so, again, caps on. We like those caps on, except for bottles. We don't want caps on bottles.
I need to be better educated on this recycling.
And that's why, my commitment to you is that to produce 4 different pieces of education, I think is going to help.
I think the community wants to do it right.
I believe,
We
Yeah,
just don't
thank you,
really don't
Nikki.
know.
I believe that people want to recycle, and they want to recycle correctly. When I see a contaminated load, and I see a plastic toy in the cart, well, it's plastic, right? Yeah, it is, but it's not recyclable in that cart. So we have some wish recycling to work through yet that we're seeing, and it's up to us and your staff to get that messaging out, and we're all very committed to that because, Nikki, to your point, I didn't know that. I have learned so much since I've been in this role since January. It's amazing. And I learn stuff almost every day. So we'll continue to keep messaging to the public because I know they want to do it right. We're always going to have a few offenders. We're going to have people who they fill up their trash cart and they're going to throw it in their recycling. It hurts us. It's contamination. But I think that's a very small percentage of our population. Other questions?
Is there a time we should expect you to come back to wanting to talk more about moving towards this recycling program, sharing the costs?
The partnership? I can come back anytime, or we can talk about it now. What questions do you have?
I'm just wondering, when would you be coming to talk to us about it? Is this something we should keep on the radar right now and start talking with yourselves?
I would like you to start having some conversation about it.
Yeah, I know the last meeting we wanted to bring it back to a workshop just for further discussion. And we'll definitely keep it on our radar to discuss and bring it to an actual council meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
We get a good feel of, I think we will bring it to, I'll invite you to that meeting, when we're ready to make a decision, I guess.
That would be wonderful. That would be very good. Because like I said, we fortunately are a large company and we're very diversified. So we've been able to weather the storm, but the partnerships are critical to the future of our recycling programs. And so that's why we stand before you, not because we want to ask you for more money. It's we have to.
So I'll just ask a question. So it's right now you're asking for 53 cents per month per household for this recycling. Let's fast forward a year from now. We're still in our contract. Let's say miraculously the recycling market has somewhat corrected themselves. Does that amount change?
Yes, ma'am.
Will it go to be a less amount if just to maintain you guys being even? Is that what you're...
It's all about staying even. The minute it's profitable and it's paying for itself again and it's profitable, we split that 50-50 revenue share. So it's that 12-month time. What we do is, and I think I mentioned it last time, we take a 12-month look back. So let's use, for an example, we enter into the partnership model January 1st, 2019. So then January 1st, 2020, we sit down and I provide you a look back of the last 12 months. What have the commodities been month by month by month? What has that revenue or deficit been? What we do is we take an average of that to recalculate the processing fee. Now, it could be that the processing fee stays the same, or if the markets, decline again, it could be that we ask for 2 or 3 or 4 cents more. It could be that, wow, things have improved, and we're saying we don't need 53 cents to break even. Now we need 40 cents, and then that's decreased at that time. If we end up in a profitable situation, and honestly, with all the indices and all the market indices that I read, it's probably going to realistically take 2 to 3 years before we see turnaround. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm a realist, and so when I personally look at that, I would say it probably will be 2 to 3 years before we see a huge shift.
So if we entered into this 53 cents January 1, on there sometime in 2019.
Mhm.
When we look at it in 2020, could this get more, because we went into this partnership, and let's say the market still is going down, would you automatically say, well, now I need 63 cents?
Whatever.
Or would that be another conversation, because we're still locked in our contract with that additional 53 cents?
Mhm. So at that 1 year time, we would look back to see what is the average commodity value. We take it through our formula, and we sit down with you and we look through it and we go, okay, that 53 cents, for instance, it's now 56 cents, and the residents would be paying 3 cents more per month. It could be that, wow, things have come up a little, they haven't totally rebounded, but now there's more value. So let's say mixed paper moved from a -10 to a +10, and you add this many tons of mixed paper, and that along with everything else in your mix, then we would say, okay, now we only need 35 cents. So then the resident would pay less for that following year. It would be once a year look back, and the look back is a 12 month. So it is variable. Mhm.
So how do you know what weights there are for the different commodities? Your recycling trucks just don't go to a transfer station and drop everything on the floor and it all gets processed there. How do you know that Mayor material is actually Mayor material?
I'm glad you asked that, because we've done audits where we've done just that. And I think a lot of cities want to think they're very unique in their commodity mixes, but they're not very far off from each other. So by using that average and by conducting audits, we feel we're really close.
So your trucks,
It's not exact, because our trucks don't weigh that material.
so your truck are they just picking up Mayor's recycling, or are they stopping in Germany?
That's a question for this gal.
So our trucks only pick up their recycling, so we're not, to answer your question, we're not stopping in Germany or on the way to Mayor, on the way from Mayor to, Demcott, which is where we have the recycling that's where it's fully committed. We're not doing competition, it is just sitting there resident on our truck.
So you have an half-empty truck there. You're not dispatching that truck to go anywhere else.
No truck. So, and actually, when we got our truck enter, the scale at Demcott, and they go to the scale house, that doesn't actually ask where it comes from. And that is actually on our receipt.
Learned something new too. Thanks, Lindsay. What other questions do you have? Those are good questions.
I just want, it was a lot of information last time we came, so it's nice to kind of reconfirm what
It sure
we
is.
talked about, so that I can make better decisions. But I think we should talk a little bit. And I really want to learn more about what I can recycle. I don't even think I know. I just put what I think is recyclable.
Mhm.
I have the caps on or off. I do better cleaning out everything, and if I can't get it clean, I just throw it away.
Thank you.
So we have a kind of saying, our material that we're sending them is too dirty, that's what they need, is, we need to do a better job of, washing it out, drying it, and then placing it in your car.
And yet we don't have to go so far as when I think people get a little nervous when it's dry, like not one drop of moisture in there. When you're done with that water bottle, just give it a couple of clicks, and so that there's not a pool of water on the bottom, put the cap on, throw it in. Now, the peanut butter jar, well, it's a little trickier, but, you don't want to be scrubbing that out. I was told by one of my master recyclers that, she puts her empty peanut butter jar in a dishwasher, cleans them up beautifully. And it doesn't fill up the rest of the dishes.
Yeah, because I just throw that away because I don't want to clean it.
And I'm the one sitting there at the sink and cleaning it, going, when I realized how much water I just used, I went, this is, in terms of the broad picture, this was probably not a lot. I wasted way more water than I should have.
plan fixed or a new one on Friday, so if that goes wrong, I might call you.
As you should.
I'm gonna leave 5 or 6 cards with, Maggie, and then see that we get to the mayor, tell you, Sarah, we're gonna go through it. Thank you.
My card.
Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns or input. Thanks. Oh, can I have a couple more? Sorry. I'll give them to my people that are missing. Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is franchising, utility franchise.
Okay. Okay, so, next topic, franchise fees. I'm just bringing this up as kind of a discussion at this time. What is a franchise fee? Cities can impose a fee on utility companies that use public right-of-ways to deliver service. The city can determine the amount, structure, and use of collected franchise fees. Right now, and this kind of came about because we just signed a new franchise fee with Jaguar Communications. We do have another one with Nuvera, and then we also do have CenterPoint Energy and I believe Excel. And within those franchise agreements, we do have the ability to issue a franchise fee if we determine that that would be beneficial to us. So I think right now we do have the ability to do 5% of on top. It's like a 5% fee. I don't. Again, this is just starting the discussion. I don't know if we need to go that far, but just issuing a fee on top, like that would. Actually, it would. We would send it to the franchise, but it is a pass-through fee, so it will be line itemed on their utility bill. So it's just something that I wanted to bring up because when I was going through the contract, I did notice that this was an option for us, and I know some cities use this money to we have to think about our street maintenance coming up, and some cities use these fees to then pay for street improvements. So another city had put together this data on their franchise fees that they collected in 2017, so I thought it would be worth at least sharing with you the total, like who's using this as a method and who isn't in Carver County. And so
So if you look at a 5% franchise fee, what would it actually look like for revenue?
I don't know yet, because it depends on which ones you can do all of them, or you can just, like you said, or...
You've got cable, electric, and gas here.
Mhm.
If we did cable, what percentage would that look like? Or if we did electric, what percentage would that look like for each of those three?
I don't know what revenue we would bring in. I guess my initial thought was just to kind of educate you on what franchise fees were. I can definitely go back and see if that's something I could calculate, because I don't know what revenue is actually brought in by these companies at this time. I don't know if that means I need to contact them and get more of their financial information. But right now, I just wanted to show you that we aren't doing any franchise fees and comparing it to, all the other cities in Carver County. I'm not saying that this is the route to go. I just wanted to bring it up as an option as we start to discuss how we're going to finance our streets, and in the future, it is an option. So,
All those numbers that are derived, are they towards the cost of the service, or
the ones for the other cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's you can either do like a flat fee or a percentage on each franchise.
So the income that the cable company's making?
Yeah, so they make, what they're going to do essentially is they're going to, like if we say, we just want to do $2 per month, they're going to put it on their bill, franchise fee, $2, and they're just going to collect it and then give it to us. So it's just another way to bring in another revenue.
It's a lot of cities that are doing this, they're using it to fund their streets. You know, traditionally, that's the problem that you run into with your streets, is that we don't have a revenue source for it. So traditionally, you know, the reconstructions we've had an assessment process, which works, but, you know, that's can be an expensive way to finance the road for the individuals they're affected, as you well know. So the idea is, again, that another tool to generate revenue, not trying to be sneaky about it, you know, it's being transparent, but it's another way to collect the revenue,
Like
versus...
It feels like a hidden tax.
Well, and to me, I mean, you don't want it to be that. I mean, if this is the route you go, you want to be as transparent as you can be to let people know what you're doing, why you're doing it. One advantage of the franchise fee is anybody who gets a utility bill is paying for that. So you have some properties in town that wouldn't otherwise contribute to your general fund, that this gives you an opportunity for them to contribute to some of the needs of the city. So again, to me, it would be essential that you're not trying to be sneaky about this. You want to be transparent, and then I'd work with your financial advisor, again, as you're looking at these different things you want to fund. Specifically, we talked about the roads here earlier in the year, that this might be another way to bring that revenue into the system, versus putting it on, you know, taking from your general fund and, you know, levying for it. This is another way to collect that revenue.
So
Yeah.
this could be another, like, line item. So when we're considering our general fund, this money that we would bring in would offset the amount that we need to levy as well. Just
Another tool in the toolbox.
right.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't put it out there as anything other than a revenue generator, and, you know, if you were going to do it, you know, potentially be very transparent and specific about what you're going to do with that money. And the tricky thing with the roads is when we go down the assessment road, the idea would be as well, everybody eventually is going to get their street reconstructed, everybody's going to pay their share. When you get into more of the maintenance, you know, when we talk about the mill and overlays, is that something we would assess for, or does it have to come out of the general fund? And, you know, if you have kind of this fund that you're bringing in, or this revenue you're bringing in, that you set it aside specifically for this purpose, is that an easier way to kind of have a continual flow of money to be able to do what you need to do?
I think I read something in Channing Center. I don't know if it was through this, but they were, instead of doing individual assessments on the roads, they were just doing a straight franchise that every resident contributed to this pool of money, so that if there was reconstruction on your road, you wouldn't be assessed your property value. You already have been paying for it.
Yeah, and the idea is that eventually everybody, you're taking care of the roads based on the need. I know Brooklyn Park does that. They did away with their assessment process, and they're using franchise fees to fund their road needs. You know, again, I think it's something to consider along with the other
Well, the money has to come
ways
from somewhere, so
yeah.
everyone in the city at some point has to figure out a way to either bond for it, or I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to, these are big discussions we have to have in the next.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
Yeah.
for projects. I just don't, when I say
I
like
just don't
a
wanna
hidden tax, I think it's, when you look at your cell phone bill, or you look at your internet bill, you're not thinking, oh, that $2 going for roads. A lot of people aren't gonna, you know, they won't even remember that, and be like, they'll just continue to pay it. It's not like, I think it's about clarity, it's about,
The transparency.
Yeah, I don't think you're not trying to trick or hide anything from anybody. It's just, again, another way to fund some of your needs without, you know, having to kind of year by year decide what you need to do with your tax rate.
Besides Chaska, all the other franchise fees doesn't even come close to what the cost of some of our road projects are going to be in the next 5 years.
All right.
Yeah, so this one's more informational. I can gather more information, but it's just something I wanted to bring up as we look. It's probably going to be more of a 2019 topic, but just as we enter into a new franchise
Yeah, I mean,
agreement,
if we could figure out, like, okay, this would only generate $20,000 possibly based on the usage, and if we did 5%, or, you know, you could probably do some rough numbers to say, well, it's only going to generate $100,000 in a year.
Mhm.
That's like this much of what we really, you know, do we need to find a different way than just trying to, like, you know, I mean, we have a lot of places that aren't contributing already to our property tax.
I mean, right now it's pretty much the way it's looking is like we're gonna have to start saving, like through levying, and but yeah, if we could have like an actual revenue stream coming in that goes towards these roads, I mean that's just something we should consider. So
Yeah, and,
No, I'm not against it, I'm just saying.
and again, if you were to bond for it, what is that bond payment, you know, to fund your mill and overlay program, for instance, and what does, what would the franchise fee be able to do to offset that bond payment versus trying to save the money to pay for it cash? And again, that's, you know, I would talk to your financial advisor about all those, but I think Maggie's right, you know, just another tool to at least know that it's out there. If you recall, for a while, you know, there was talk about a street utility at the legislature, and that hasn't gone anywhere. Well, kind of that was the idea is, well, you can generate money for your storm sewer. You sell water, you sell services for your sewer, that you have those enterprise funds. The roads are the one thing that you have that's a significant cost that you really don't have a way of specifically pulling in revenue to take care of them, so.
All right, it's definitely nice.
We could just do toll roads everywhere.
You wanna go home, pay that toll.
I'm totally kidding. Please know I'm joking. Yeah, to get into the city.
What neighborhood do you live in?
Chastain's very full, Chastain's huge, Mayor's not.
right.
It's really probably not gonna total anything.
Yeah, I mean if it's something.
Yeah, I'm not against it, but I just.
Totally, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, everybody gets the utility bills paying, if you go that route, and right now, that's not true for your tax bill.
What, say that again?
If you get a utility bill, you'd be paying the franchise fees. You have some property owners in town that don't pay city taxes.
Correct.
All right, next item on the agenda is the plow truck financing.
Okay, so this has been on a couple of our previous meetings. So on September 24th, the council workshop meeting, council instructed staff to get accurate numbers on the cost of a new plow truck or a used plow truck. On the October 22nd meeting, that information was presented. I did include it again in the packet. The total price for a new plow truck was estimated to be about $217,857.11. The next direction was to provide detail on how to finance the new plow truck. There are options in which the city could take regarding financing the plow truck. That includes paying for it with cash up front, bonding, or taking out an equipment loan. We did talk to our financial advisor and staff, and the advisor was in agreement that we could finance it out of our capital equipment fund. Right now, we do have about $835,000 in that fund.
What number is that?
Oh, that's if you look in your 435 fund.
Yeah.
It's in the.
So that's that 435 that we've used for different things, like used to purchase the building.
I don't know. Which building? Oh, your guys' building. Okay, yep. So, and that's the
I
fund.
just wanted to make sure I knew which fund it was,
Yeah, yeah. So, so we were thinking, because, like, if you bond for it, the process of bonding is actually really expensive, and for a project this small, it, like, may not be worth the cost. And then, in the preliminary budget, we do have $100,000 that we're dedicating to that fund to rebuild, like, to keep rebuilding it, so.
So if it gets to 17 out,
Mhm.
you'll have 100
Going in at the end of 2019. So I think that's kind of where we're going, is we're starting to rebuild this fund with a new capital line item.
So
But we do,
almost like we're prepaying for the next, probably, what did we say? Were we paying like $20,000 a year right now for current snow removal? Is it $20,000?
Yeah, if we don't get a lot of them.
Well, right, so let's just say 25. I'm just trying to make.
Yeah, so essentially, yeah, we would be paying for the truck out of this fund and replenishing it with $100,000, but then we would also next year be able to reassess, like, if we can then remove that $20,000 from the budget.
Do you think that if we, I know we can't approve it tonight, but let's say we went ahead, purchased this truck, would we have it in time for the plow season next year?
Got it on order, they passed the next meeting, get it on order right away. We should have it by, for August, September.
And does this, do you have on your next year's plan to purchase another truck and plow, right? Like a
Like a half
truck,
yes,
everyday trucks. So you do have that on, and that's not part of this $100,000?
That is something that's actually in the general fund capital outlay. Currently.
And would you, what's that, I'm just asking, so would that, you wouldn't put a plow on a 1.5 ton?
No, well, if it's a 3/4, yeah, they bid, it's the price of half of the work. So, if we got 3/4 ton, we can put it on it.
Because I know you already did your big thing, but this truck that we'd ordered has the side wing and the whatever, and our current F-550 blade on it. You guys could do our entire streets. So skid loader in that truck, you wouldn't use the 550, or you would?
No, wouldn't use the 550, since we're getting a truck, you might as well outfit it with a plow, because then you have it.
Right.
We don't have to outfit with a plow right away, so it's $5,000, $3,000. So,
And between you and Jason, we wouldn't have to hire another person, but the two of you could plow. Are there two people with Whitmer right now that come in and plow?
pretty much, yeah.
And plus you?
Yeah.
So actually, it could be saving money because we're not paying you twice.
And you don't need any other equipment to do it out of the door, not this year, but the following year,
We'll
this
be
new truck.
set, if we get this truck, we'll be set to do it, for sure.
And this truck has a dump box, right?
Yep.
So you can use it in the summer to haul crap or stuff.
Now, with our current contract, are they providing the salt and sand? So we already,
Yep, where are we, but?
well, yeah, I know we're budgeting for it, I just didn't know if ours was above and beyond what they were providing. Because their trucks, when they plow, don't they sand and salt?
No.
They don't?
No.
That's strictly you. Okay. Good job last year, by the way. Thank you.
So will you be able to still maintain by plowing everything and then having to jump in the other truck to salt and sand?
We can do it all at once with this truck, we'll get the salt sand, pre-wet, everything with this truck. With the 550.
I know you went through all of this, but these are just like my fine questions I have to ask again.
So while the F-550 was a deep blade with salt on the back, we'll have this big truck with brine tanks, salt on the back, a belly blade through the truck. So we'll be able to scrape the road very clean, just a flat down truck with a belly blade, and also with using the brine tanks and the salt, we'll be able to lay less salt to have a
Jason likes clean roads just as much as you.
He likes to plow snow.
Well, I know, but plowing snow and clean roads are two different things. Well, like, you know, 'cause I don't, well, I know, but I know you're very dedicated to it. I don't know why you wanna plow it. I don't get it.
I'm already, if I'm already doing the job, but I'm frustrated because I don't have the job to do it the way I want it. So the few times that I did plow those cities with 550, it's just like the whole time. It's so much better, so much faster, but
Well, and you know our streets, you know our curbs.
where snow should go, where snow shouldn't go, just go up. It's really, it's hard to compare what the service you're gonna get compared to what you're comparing.
My concern is overtime. You know, I just wanna, you know, when I first ran, I got elected, we wanted roads like Waconia. We want it clean down to the pavement. And we were told, no, we can't do it, we can never do it. And, you know, and it's just, like I said last time, it's cyclical, it's funny, we're back here. I wanna see it, but just, what about the overtime? How do you know you're not gonna run a ton of overtime?
See, us compared to the contractor, so we still have a 40-hour work. So say we get snow, you know, we start at 3 in the morning, once we get to 7, we're around there, you know, break the clock, you know, so it's like if we started before, it was either 3:30 to 11 hours, 3 hours overtime, you know, or 4 hours overtime. We also, you know, we can leave early, we can put in comp time, there's different things that we do with it. You know, but currently, I'm already getting, we're here when the contractor's here. So, and I feel like we're not gonna go above and beyond what the contractor's already doing as far as hours.
So when the snow came, you still were out at the same time.
Right.
The contractors
And currently-
were out.
Right.
So you could then have to start your workday
Right.
until 3:30 because you have to do your normal maintenance stuff. Do you
Right.
think you'll be able to handle that if you take over the wastewater treatment plant?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, in the winter time, our work, you know, it really drops off once it gets cold outside. We're inside a lot, you know, maintenance, vehicle maintenance, things like that. Well, you know, paperwork and that sort of thing. So we're not really dedicated to a huge project that we really got going on. You know, it's kind of, once it's done, it's like, okay, woo-hoo, it's done, let's do some work. So, no, I don't think, it'd be no different than what I'm already, I'm pretty much already done with this work, like I'm gonna be, I think over that happens.
I just want you to get burned out. I don't know what's wrong with you. I really don't.
But I mean, as far as the overtime, I mean, I really don't know, you know, like how much it's gonna snow. I mean, if we get hit with, you know, 4 snowstorms in 1 week, then we're gonna probably have some overtime, but I mean.
Well, I'm thinking some of those 24-hour storms that we get, or the 16-hour snowstorms that we get, like, the April 15th storm that we had this year. I mean, that's been.
Yeah, but you plowed everything.
Yeah, I pretty much ended up plowing Digging Creek and Coldwater all by myself with the 550 with contractor had a couple of years with me, so I handled it all anyway. And I didn't have a huge amount of overtime with that either. And even like hauling snow, like right now the contractor hauls all the snow and everything right away, and that's, you know, that's their hourly rate, you know, $156 an hour for consistent rate. We'll pile the snow to the side, get off overtime, you know, come back the next day and do our regular pay, you know, so there's certain, I mean, we can be flexible as far as overtime. I'm not sure, I know, honestly, Luann would budget like $200 overtime as far as throughout the year, so if I remember right, so she was doing that, I'm not sure how it would that way, but I know that 1 year we were short. She just figured my salary was an additional 200 hours, which she budgeted.
All right, we'll keep moving down the road with it.
All right, so I mean, is there anything else, the next step would be to bring the truck forward. Is there anything else that council would like to see? Any other questions or anything?
So the financial planner, when we take that, does that still give us a good cash reserve?
Yeah, I mean, he's like, pretty much said that, what, 7 months. And, you know,
mean, I like using money that we've already levied for projects like this.
And it's a core city service as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's an 8-year budget if you took the 25, but that's a little, because we're still paying him to go out during every snowstorm with the contractor.
We have to oversee the contract.
So,
But I know, but I'm just thinking out loud, you know, even though you're out there overseeing the contractor, that's, you're still freed up to do other things in town that need to be done, because they're out there plowing. My concern is when Jason are out there plowing, something happens somewhere, you know, pipe freeze, whatever can happen, and it's an emergency, you guys gotta take care of it, now it's just a fall off the road. So I guess I'm a little concerned about signing up 100% of our public works staff to plow the road, when there's other things I need to be doing, so I'm kinda, I guess I'm concerned about that.
I did have one guy, go back up, but I didn't do it. I mean, yeah, you can have water breaks and that, there's always something that can happen. Prioritize, get one thing done, one thing, but with the,
But I don't want one thing to suffer because it isn't being completed.
oh, no, and I don't believe it will. Not at all. No, because I mean, what we're working with, they're good at things, so, I mean, the only thing that would really, would be just go on the grade, so that's it. Emergency, power outs and stuff, you know, anybody in the graders will be on right away, so, it's just, yeah,
one person can still be plowing and the other person.
right, with the single axle plow truck, that truck is gonna take it all.
I don't think we can do it right. I think Jason's gonna do.
Oh, no, I beat him to the shop the other day. Yeah, we had to go home.
Like comes out and he's gonna be in his car and he's gonna have.
We helped out, I called him, he had like, cleaned out the fender and everything on, and I'm like, oh, I forget that. Yeah.
It might be nice this year to just kind of really track with, so you're already doing it, the time you're spending out there,
Yeah.
and what those hours, what those costs are, and then just.
I can even look back at it.
That'd be awesome, I think I'd like to see that.
Just to make sure that we're not gonna run, all of a sudden be really invested in this, and then find out that we're just spending tons and tons of money all the time. It's just not sustainable, I'm sure it probably will be.
We'll figure what we budget for overtime.
And this truck wouldn't just be for snow removal, you would use it year round.
That'll save money.
think is rather good compared to where we're sitting in the other cities.
Yeah, so we're actually going, our tax rate is going down. We are preliminary, tax rate is a little bit more, but, because we
Value.
added more money to our budget, we have increased our budget, but because our community so I did provide an example of
I think we have to pay the vet. I think we have to pay Countryside. If a community service officer comes in and impounds any of the dogs, the city has to pay that impound. Just I like the, no, and I like the monthly breakout, I think that helps explain it, and, you know, the nice thing in an up market is your home values go up, but then, yeah,
You don't have to cost more for selling.
right.